Hello students, in today's class we shall discuss about free expansion of gas in vacuum, zeroth law of thermodynamics and first law of thermodynamics. So let's start with the free expansion of gas in vacuum. In the free expansion of gas, P external will be zero, external pressure will be zero, right? If external pressure is zero, we have the relationship in the form of work done, pressure volume work done, that is W is equal to minus P external into change in volume, that is delta V. So here we know during the expansion of a gas in vacuum, P external will be zero. If P external is zero, then if we multiply zero by change in volume, so W comes out to be zero. So one can write that no work done during the free expansion of ideal gas, whether the process is reversible or irreversible. So the units of work done, you can see here, 1 joule is equal to 1 Newton meter and 1 Newton meter is equal to 1 kilogram meter square per second square. So as per the sign convention, if gas is going to compress, then work done will be positive, and if gas is going to expand, then the work done will be negative. We have a question: why reversible work of expansion is maximum than isothermal irreversible expansion? The answer for this question is, for reversible expansion, P external means external pressure should be infinitesimally smaller than internal pressure. P internal means internal pressure. Thus, external pressure is maximum possible value of the pressure, because if pressure becomes greater than this value, then no expansion occurs. So here this P external will have the maximum possible value, because if pressure becomes greater than this, then there will be no expansion occurs at all. That means we can say external pressure will have the higher value, and external pressure is related with the work done, W is equal to minus P external into V2 minus V1. So here this is the maximum possible value of pressure. So one can write that work done during the reversible process is greater than that of work done during irreversible process, or you can write reversible work done that will be treated as the maximum work done, because the pressure has the maximum possible value. So if pressure has the maximum possible value and this pressure is related with the work done, so work done will be maximum during the reversible process. Next we have another question, and question is, why a smooth curve is obtained for isothermal reversible expansion? You can see here we are getting pressure PV curve that is very smooth, right? Why we are getting this smooth curve during the isothermal reversible expansion? As you know that for reversible process, the pressure is not constant but changes in infinite number of steps. These are the infinite number of steps you can see, and the pressure is going to change gradually, right? So here pressure is not constant. So these infinite number of small steps, you can say small steps are there, right? Small steps are continuous. These infinite number of small steps are continuous. That's why we will get the smooth curve. So this is the answer for that particular question. Next, moving to the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Remember, the laws which are associated with thermodynamics, they have not associated with any theory. They all are based on our day-to-day life experiences. So the first is zeroth law of thermodynamics. If a system A and B, we have the two systems A and B, and they are in thermal equilibrium, means temperature of both the system that is constant. So we call it thermal equilibrium A and B. We have taken two systems and these are in thermal equilibrium with system C. A and B, they are in thermal equilibrium with another system that is C. then system A and B, they are also in thermal equilibrium with each other. Means if A and B, we have taken two systems and they are in thermal equilibrium with the another system, that is C, then definitely A and B, they also be in the thermal equilibrium with each other. So one can write A is in thermal equilibrium with C, B is in thermal equilibrium with C, then one can write A and C, they also will be in thermal equilibrium with each other. So in place of B, we have to write it C, in place of C, we have to write it B. So A and B, definitely they will be in thermal equilibrium with each other, because here A is in equilibrium with C and B is in equilibrium with C. Definitely A and B, they are also in thermal equilibrium with each other. This is the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Examples we have, best example is the thermometer, right? Say for example, the thermostat in your room reads 65 Fahrenheit, that is degree Fahrenheit. This means that the thermostat is in thermal equilibrium with your room, or one can write there is an equilibrium, thermal equilibrium between thermostat and your room. Thermostat and room, they are in thermal equilibrium. Both will have the temperature 65 degree Fahrenheit. So this is the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Next, moving to first law of thermodynamics. After zeroth law, we have the first law of thermodynamics. Now, basically this law is the law of conservation of energy, and you know very well, energy neither be created nor be destroyed, although it can be converted from one form of energy into another form of energy, or one can write that the total energy of universe that will remain constant, because one form of energy, if one form of energy is going to convert it into another form of energy, definitely the total energy of the universe that will remain constant. Now this law holds good in chemical reactions as well, because in chemical reactions energy can be absorbed or evolved, means the process of absorption or evolution will take place in the chemical reaction, but the total energy of the reaction system and surrounding, that will remain constant as that of the universe. Total energy of the universe is remain constant. Likewise, the total energy of system and surrounding, that will remain constant during the reaction. So this first law holds good even for the chemical reactions. You can see we have the example, water in the liquid form, we have taken 1 mole of water. So this amount of energy, that is electric energy, 286.4 kilojoule, is required to dissociate this water into the constituent hydrogen and oxygen. And if we have hydrogen and oxygen as a constituent, and if we want to combine them to get this water molecule, then what will happen, when they will combine hydrogen and oxygen, when they will combine, then they will give water, and this same amount of energy that is going to be released. Here we have to supply this amount of energy, and if we supply this amount of energy, water will be dissociated into its constituent, and if we combine these two to get this water, then definitely this same amount of energy will release, that is 286.4 kilojoule. So this justifies that energy is always conserved, though it may change its form. The form of energy is going to change, but the entire energy of the system and surrounding, that will remain constant. So this is the justification of first law of thermodynamics. Next we have the mathematical expression of first law. How one can write the mathematical form of first law. So for this, we have considered a system having the internal energy U1, initial internal energy. Now if the system absorbs Q amount of heat, and if work W is done on the system, then the internal energy of the system will increase, and now it becomes U1 plus Q plus W. Q is the amount of heat absorbed. You can see this is the system, right? Q is the amount of energy which is given to the system, or you can say amount of heat absorbed by the system. And here plus sign before W indicates work is done on the system. Then the internal energy of the system will increases. Now it will become U2, and U2 that is equal to U1, initial internal energy plus amount of heat absorbed plus work done on the system. So one can write U2 is equal to U1 plus Q plus W, and from here just by arranging U2 minus U1 is equal to Q plus W, and this is what U2 minus U1 that represent the change in internal energy, and that is Q plus W. This means one can write change in internal energy. This is change in internal energy, that is equal to Q plus W, amount of heat added to the system, because here we are adding energy or heat to this system. So amount of heat added to the system plus work done on the system, because here W is positive, means positive sign before W indicate work done on the system. Now what happens if a system does work on the surrounding, or we can say that work is done by the system, then definitely we will see here the situation is reversed. Here this is the system, here Q is the amount of heat absorbed by the system, and here now work is done by the system. Minus sign before W indicates work is done by the system. Then the internal energy decreases, so one can write delta U is equal to Q plus into minus W, because minus W means work is done by the system. So one can write del U is equal to Q minus W, and here one can write this delta U is what? Change in internal energy is equal to what? Heat added to the system minus work done by the system. Positive sign before Q indicates heat is added to the system. So this is the mathematical relationship of first law of thermodynamics, that is delta Q is equal to Q plus W. It may be Q minus W depending upon the amount of heat or amount of work done by the system, or work is done on the system, or work is done by the system. Now we have seen that in the first case that delta U is equal to Q plus W. Here Q is the amount which is added to the amount of heat added to the system, and work is done on the system. So delta U is equal to Q plus W as per the first mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics. Further we know that during the irreversible expansion W is equal to minus P external del V, change in volume. Now putting this value in equation 1, one can write delta U is equal to Q minus P external del V. Now if we consider the system in which the volume is taken as constant, means if we consider volume as constant, then change in volume that will be 0. Just by putting the value of delta V 0 here, one can write this whole quantity will become 0. So one can write delta is equal to QV. Here V stands for at constant volume, and Q is what? Amount of heat absorbed at constant volume. So internal energy, change in internal energy is equal to QV. Now further if we consider that the change in internal energy of a reaction is equal to heat evolved. Here it may be heat evolved, or it may be heat absorbed during the reaction at constant temperature and constant volume. So one can write QV is equal to heat supplied at constant volume. So first law of thermodynamics, we have the relationship depending upon the amount of heat absorbed or evolved, work is done by the system or work is done on the system. We will get according sign accordingly. So delta U is equal to minus Q plus W, and another is delta Q is equal to plus Q minus W. Delta U means change in internal energy. Q is heat absorbed by the system, positive sign. Minus Q means heat lost by the system. This is heat lost by the system. Next, W is work done on the system, and minus W means work done by the system. So for the isolated system, we know that Q is equal to 0, W is equal to 0. So one can write internal energy will also 0. So likewise, we have the isothermal expansion. Already we have seen that in isothermal expansion, external pressure will be 0, and due to this the work done will be 0. Moreover, Q is equal to 0 just by putting the value of W and Q. In first law of thermodynamics, one can get delta U is equal to Q plus W. Q is 0, W is 0. So change in internal energy will be 0. Likewise, if we see the isothermal irreversible change, in isothermal irreversible change, here you will see change in internal energy by the first law is equal to Q plus W. If it is isothermal, then temperature will remain constant, right? So here delta U will be 0, and it comes out if just by putting the value of delta Q is equal to 0 here, one can get that Q is equal to minus W. So we have the another relationship. You will see isothermal reversible change, Q is equal to minus W is equal to nRT, then log V2 by V1 in the form of pressure, in the form of volume. And in adiabatic change, we will get Q is equal to 0 and del W is equal to work done adiabatically, means adiabatically work done is equal to change in internal energy. Here this is nRT, and here just by putting the value here you will write Q is equal to minus W and W is equal to 2.303 nRT log V2 by V1. So in this video we have discussed about the free expansion of the gas in vacuum, the results of that, and then zeroth law and first law, mathematical form of first law of thermodynamics. Thank you very much for watching it. Have a great day.